Night Owls is a 100% water-based print shop specializing in high-end merch and fulfillment services for the creative community.
We're going to print a design for a customer called Wizard of Barge. The idea of printing a poly cotton tee came up, so we're going to talk about that today and show how we can recreate these bright and vibrant colors with water base on a poly cotton garment. You'll be able to touch and see how soft it is too.
Houston, we do not have a problem because we're back for season 3 of JERZEES Adventures in Apparel Decorating. We're kicking it off in Houston, Texas, where we're spending the day at Night Owls. They take pride in their craft, producing sought-after fanwear for their long-term client base. Using High Solids Acrylic water-based inks, they'll bring their customers' vision to life. Where does the name Night Owls come from?
Our origin story is pretty familiar to a lot of people. I started printing in my parents' garage. It would be after hours, after school, after work, and we would just stay up all night and print.
I was more the art side and he did more of the physical printing.
Yep, and so that was around 2005, and we just continued to grow, and through the years we evolved our practice and started Night Owls in 2010. We work with a lot of people from rock bands to brick and mortar to big business, small business, and it's all been a part of the journey.
So what's it like to have a family business and work with your spouse and all that?
I think we have fun.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it makes it, so we have a common goal. We know what it is we need to do. Probably a little annoying for Val just because like my brain doesn't shut off. So it's like, there's no difference between work and home life.
Talk about your clients. It's not just here in Houston, they're everywhere, right?
We work with worldwide clientele. We have customers we've done work for in Switzerland, South Africa, Australia. We really are like a international company. The majority of work that we print though is United States based, but it's all over the place.
You started off in the basement and now here you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
So talk about how you've grown that business over the years.
The biggest part is just hard-headedness and stubbornness. We just put our head down and would go to work and do what we needed to do for our customers.
Because you work with bands and artists and stuff, a lot of the artwork that you get, you have to make it work for the medium that we print on, which is apparel, right?
Absolutely.
So talk about the challenges and how you proactively solve those a little bit.
A lot of that is taking in all the information that they're giving you. So if they want it on a black shirt and it's a full color, fully neon design, we do have limitations, but we try to communicate that. Most print shops that are accepting designer work can attest to receiving 100 DPI, 1x1 image that is no way printable. Sometimes it's a lot of back and forth with the customer to like, well, can I recreate this for you? Honestly, that's the easiest way. Let me just charge. I have an idea of what you want. Let me charge to recreate it and we go from there.
You guys are a water-based shop. Talk about preparing the files for your production and making it more production friendly. Any tricks with that?
The big thing for us here is we spend a lot of time in pre-press, whether that's in the art room, whether it's mock-ups, whether it's ink swatching, all of it is done in preparation to make that art translate to print much easier. Like we want to be their biggest cheerleader. And so the best way that we can do that is to try and understand and ascertain all the information that they want and feed that into the project and make the project match what their expectations should be.
Today, we're going to be printing something from one of your customers. So talk about what we're going to see.
So we're going to print a design for a customer called Wizard of Barge. He is an artist that currently resides in Los Angeles. However, he is from Houston. His last job before he decided to become a full-time artist was actually hatching shirts at the end of the dryer at Night Owls. So we have quite a good relationship with him. And we also do all of his fulfillment. So we're going to go through a little bit of that today too. He tends to print on 100% cotton, and we typically use discharge inks, specifically neon discharge inks often. We have really discovered all of these different things that we can utilize water-based ink for. It's so versatile, it's so customizable. And so when we started discussing what type of projects we wanted to print for this, and the idea of printing a poly cotton tee came up. For us, it's a normal day of printing. So I'm excited to show you all that we can not only successfully print it, but you can see how bright and vibrant the colors are. You'll be able to touch and see how soft it is too.
We're in Val's office and we're going to take a look at the artwork and the prep that they did for the file.
So the customer sent us a PSD file, Photoshop file. You can see that there's a lot of stippling, a lot of solid colors, but there's also stippling mixed in between two different colors. So there's a little bit of difficulty there. But yeah, it's vibrant, a lot of neon colors.
And stippling is those little dots, right?
Yes.
And that is a little tiny area. And we want to make sure that that dot or the absence of that dot where we're having the shirt color come through look perfect. So is there anything that we do to the file to get that to happen?
So we are going to take a look at certain parts of the file and the separation and just make sure that we're holding those dots. If it's smaller than we think we can print, we're going to enlarge that dot so that the shirt actually does show through and it doesn't fill in.
Now, this was a Photoshop file, so is there any problem with it not being vector because it's a raster file for our process?
Actually, no. So because of the stippling and the weather detail, I actually prefer that it's in Photoshop. I have more control here.
Right, and it's because they send it to you in their correct resolution,
Yes.
allows you to do that, right?
Absolutely.
And what resolution is that?
So this is actually 300 DPI. Some people prefer 600, but we work with this customer so often that we're used to it. So 300 DPI works well.
Because you've worked with them, you've trained them into what you want.
Yes, they know how to prep their files now. When we get the art, we want to learn what the best way to translate that to a t-shirt would be. That's our job and that's what we do best.
That's the value that you bring to the relationship.
Yeah.
Are there any special things we're doing to make this work for the 50/50 JERZEES premium blend that we're using today?
We're going to be printing two bases for this design. We want to have a blocker base and we want to have a white base and then the colors printing on top of that. This is our first base, the blocker base, and that is going to be crucial to this design because it is a 50/50 garment. We want to make sure that we don't allow for any bleed through when we go through and print the colors on top. And then the white base. So this is the secondary base to kind of let those colors pop once they print on top of it. So on the secondary base, we'll use a stampinator afterwards. And what that stampinator does is creates a foundation for the colors to print on top of. It will also hold the heat on the press. The stampinator builds a foundation to allow for nice, vibrant colors.
We do a lot of inner neck labels here. So on this press, this is a flat stock press and we use this to actually screen print our PET film with water-based ink in which we use for transfers. We print the sheets, we set them off to the side. Because these are transfers, we have to run them through powder adhesive. And once they're adhesive, we then run them through the dryer like we would a t-shirt. The adhesive will bake into the ink and that adhesive allows it to adhere to the shirt when we heat press it. So one of the great things about these jersey shirts is that they have very easy tearaway tags, which are great for relabeling or branding. So for Wizard of Barge, we rebrand all of his shirts with a custom inner neck logo, which you can see Callie's doing here with our dual station pneumatic heat press. So right now, the heating element has come down over a piece of craft paper onto a water-based PET transfer. And once it releases here, you'll see that she is going to move that out of the way, pick up the craft paper and peel the PET backing film off, leaving us with a completely brand new branded and relabeled t-shirt for our customer, Wizard of Barge.
With Tim Cantu, the production manager at Night Owls, how long have you worked here?
I've been here for almost 4 years now.
What's your favorite part about working at Night Owls?
Honestly, I like all the people here. We're kind of a family. We're doing the same thing every day, but all the different artwork and seeing different challenges come our way and how to navigate those is a lot of fun. Since we're doing water-based screen printing, I kind of lean on Eric and Val a lot of times. They have a lot of knowledge in what we're doing.
Is using water-based ink different than like plastisol or other types of ink?
In the testing phase, if you're not cleaning out screens, and we have very detailed jobs that we're doing a lot, things will dry up, and if you're not paying attention, those kinds of things will happen.
So you guys test the ink before you actually print the job, and you do that every single time. Walk us through why you do that.
It helps us on press so that we know that if there was challenges before, like with testing, we can kind of nip that in the bud before it even gets onto press. And then whenever it is on press, we'll do a quick test, obviously for registration, but also to make sure the inks work well together
So you guys mix your own ink. How important is it to use the right formula and the right additives to produce the ink that you guys use here?
Being able to have kind of control of that in our ink room has really helped us whenever it gets on to press. Things in this climate too, it gets pretty hot in Texas during the summer, so things will dry out quickly. And so being able to have the right additives, being able to mix it here in-house definitely helps us not have as many problems on press. Today we're printing on JERZEES 50/50 polyester blend, and so we have to formulate our inks specifically for this job like we do every other job.
So we're using a polyester blended shirt, and as everyone knows, polyester can't handle high heat. And so with water-based, it's not so much that we need high curing temperatures, we need it to stay in the chamber for 2.5 to 3 minutes. And that's so the water evaporates from the ink and you're left with a very smooth, soft resin on the shirt. We're gonna use this blocker base to help mitigate any migration that might come up from the polyester with, I think we run 300, 320 degrees. We're gonna flash it, then we're gonna print a secondary white base. With water-based ink, especially HSA, using the dual bases helps us to control our opacity. It also helps us control how soft the print is. So if we can make all of our bases, our foundation, really bright, then our highlight colors can be really thin and it feels great. You can flash it. We've had better success flashing it, but very, very small amount of time and small heat. And then we go to the Stampinator. For those of you who don't know, tons of different people make something that's similar to a Stampinator, but essentially it's a heat press that lives on your press. So you get the benefit of flashing and ironing all at once in one machine in line. When we print and it comes to this open station here, you'll see that we'll have a very bright white, which gives us a perfect foundation to lay all of our highlight colors down. After the Stampinator, we're gonna start our highlight colors. So again, building off of that very smooth, flat foundation. For all of our highlight colors, we typically use the same durometer squeegee, usually the same mesh as well. So all of our highlight colors on this particular job are going to be Sati Hydro Thin Thread, 230/40 diameter. And so what that's going to allow us to do is lay a very thin coverage of ink. Because it's thin, it's not gonna be like Plastisol where it's a kind of thick plastic shield. We don't need our highlight colors to be very opaque because our opacity is coming from our bases. So with water-based ink, it's really important to monitor as much as you can. We have hygrometers all over the place. We have one at the control panel of every press. We have a weather station here inside the building that we're constantly monitoring. We have found, and I don't know if it's just because we're in Texas, but we found that it's actually the environment that's important, not just at the head. You need the whole shop to be controlled. So we're constantly trying to hit a humidity rate of between let's say 50 and 60% humidity. So it's pretty high. If you can't do it or can't get it that high, if your inks are built correctly with the right additives, I think that you'll be successful. Once this is printed, shirts are taken off the press, thrown under the dryer belt. Typically with water-based ink, we cure between 2.5 and 3 minutes, anywhere from 300 to 340 degrees, depending on the substrate we're using. With this particular project, because it is a polyester blend, it's the JERZEES premium polyester blend, and we're using a blocker base, we're actually gonna run it a little bit lower. We'll probably be about 300 degrees and keep it in the chamber for about 3 minutes. After the shirts are printed, for this particular client, we handle the fulfillment process. So that means that we store the items here. When a customer goes to his website, they order something, we pack it and we ship it to them. After the shirts are printed, we bring it over here to our AMP schematic folder to where we load the shirts in here. It goes to this whole machine, it gets folded, it goes into this bagging component. So the shirt goes into a poly bag, it gets sealed, and then we use this printer to print a barcode on the actual poly bag. With that barcode, our picking team in fulfillment, they can scan it, verify that they actually have the right product that they need to be sending to the customer, then it gets packed up and sent out from there.
Eric, Val, hey, this JERZEES premium blend came out fantastic with your print.
Yeah, we're really happy with how we were able to accent the bright and vibrant colors on this 50/50 JERZEES tee.
You guys said in the beginning you guys could print on anything, and you really proved it here today.
Well, thanks. We're really happy to step up to the challenge and show everyone that it's totally possible when you're working with premium quality blanks like this.
Hey, what a fantastic day. We really learned a lot about printing with High Solids Acrylic water-based, keeping our opacity, keeping our detail, plus making sure that the artwork looks fantastic for our client.
Yeah, we're really happy to show you all how we're able to achieve such bright, colorful, opaque prints, especially on polyester blends, and share some of our tips and secrets, not only for production, but for fulfillment as well.
What a great way to begin season 3 of Jerzees Adventures in Apparel Decorating. You guys really rocked it. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming to Night Owls.
Woo! For more episodes of Adventures in Apparel Decorating, be sure to subscribe to the Jerzees YouTube channel.